My mother-in-law looked at my screaming newborn and said, maybe she just doesn't like you. She said it casually, while my 6-week-old shrieked into my chest hard enough to make my ears ring. I hadn't slept more than 2 hours straight in weeks. My shirt was covered in spit up, and this woman was standing in my kitchen, telling me my own baby didn't like me. I said, she has colic. She cries with everyone. My mother-in-law picked her up, and my daughter went quiet for exactly 11 seconds before erupting again. She handed her back and said, she calmed down with me. Just saying. My husband didn't say a word, just stood at the counter, scrolling his phone like none of this was happening. This was happening. My daughter cried, every waking moment. Fed, clean, burped, swaddled, nothing worked. White noise, the shower trick, driving at 3 in the morning, bouncing on a yoga ball until my back gave out. If she was awake, she was screaming. If she slept, it lasted 20 minutes before she jolted awake shrieking again. I was running on fumes and losing my mind, and every single person around me acted like it was my fault. My mother-in-law started coming over uninvited every single day. She'd walk in, take the baby, and make comments the entire time. You're too tense. Babies can feel that. Are you sure your milk is enough? My son never cried like this. Not once. Every visit ended with her looking at me with that pitying face and saying, some women just aren't natural mothers. There's no shame in admitting it. I told my husband I needed her to stop. He said I was being sensitive and his mother was trying to help. I asked when the last time was he'd been up all night with the baby. He said he had to work in the morning. I told him I hadn't slept in 6 weeks. He said that was different. I asked him how. He walked out of the room. The neighbors left an anonymous note in our mailbox. Your baby cries all night. Maybe see a doctor or learn how to parent. I crumpled it up and threw it away. Then I pulled it out of the trash and read it 3 more times because I was starting to believe them. I called my own mother one night and made the mistake of being honest. I told her I was struggling. I told her some days I sat on the bathroom floor wondering if my daughter would be happier with someone else. Someone who could actually make her stop crying. Someone who didn't feel like a failure every second of every day. She told my mother-in-law. The next morning my mother-in-law showed up with my husband's aunt. They sat at my kitchen table like they were holding an intervention. We think you need to let someone else take care of her for a while, just until you get yourself together. My hands started shaking. You want to take my baby. You're clearly overwhelmed, and the baby can sense it. That's probably why she cries. She has colic. Her pediatrician confirmed it. Pediatricians don't know everything. My son never cried like this because I knew what I was doing. I looked at my husband. He was standing in the doorway with his arms crossed. He wasn't looking at me. He was looking at his mother. Do you agree with her? He paused too long. I just think you need help. Help or replacement. That's not fair. You haven't done a single night feeding in 6 weeks. You haven't changed a diaper in days. You let your mother walk into our home every single day and tell me I'm failing, and you have never once told her to stop. And now you're standing there nodding while she tries to take our daughter from me. He opened his mouth, and I held up my hand. Get out, all of you, right now. My mother-in-law stood slowly. You're proving our point. Get out of my house. They left. My husband went with them. My daughter screamed the entire time like she was providing the soundtrack to the worst moment of my life. I called her pediatrician the next morning and demanded more testing. We switched formula, ran allergy panels, tried reflux medication. 2 weeks later, the screaming stopped. Not gradually. Almost overnight. She had silent reflux so severe it caused her pain every time she ate. Every time I fed her, I was hurting her, and neither of us knew. My husband came home 4 days later with flowers. Stood in the doorway with this look like the last month hadn't happened. He apologized, and I let him finish. Then I said, your mother told me my daughter didn't like me. You left. You left your sick baby with the mother you thought couldn't handle her because your mom started crying. What does that tell you about who you actually chose? He didn't have an answer. We're in counseling now. My daughter is 10 months old, and she laughs so hard, she gets the hiccups. She falls asleep every night with her fist wrapped around my finger. She reaches for me when she's scared. Every single time. Last week she said mama for the first time, both arms reaching. I held her so tight she squirmed. My mother-in-law was in the room when it happened. She didn't say a word. Some women aren't natural mothers. That's what she told me. But I found what was hurting my baby when every person around me was too busy pointing fingers to look. I stayed when everyone else walked out that door. If that's not a natural mother, I don't know what is.